listening to a lecture by one of the scholars, and he said there was a woman who wrote a book. He wrote a book called Locked In. Non-Muslim person. She wrote a book called Locked In. And when she wrote this book, she was 90%, 95% paralyzed. Before she wrote the book, she became mafloot, she became paralyzed. She was paralyzed, her whole body, the only part of her body which was not paralyzed was her brain and her eyes. It was her brain and her eyes. And in this stage, she wrote a book. How did she write a book? She can't move her hands, she can't write anything. What she did was, she would use her eyes. One of her friends or family members, whoever, would stand by her, and they would bring the alphabet. They would show her the alphabet, and if she wanted to choose a letter, she would blink. If she didn't want to choose a letter, she would not blink. Doing that, she started to make words. Doing that, sentences became, then paragraphs, then pages. Finally, she wrote a whole book like that. She wrote a whole book like that. SubhanAllah. And she mentioned many important things, and one thing that she mentioned, a sentence, a very important sentence, that if we take this as a principle in our life, we'll be successful, inshallah, bi'idhnillah. And I can't quote it exactly, but the mafhum, the understanding of that sentence, which is on the cover of that book called Locked In, which she wrote in this state of paralysis, which were with just her eyes and blinking. She said that focus on the things that you have, focus on the things that you have, and do not focus or worry about the things that you don't have in life. Focus on the things that you have in life, and don't focus on the things that you don't have in life. Right? What's the biggest problem? One of the biggest problems that we have in humanity, not only in the ummah but in humanity, we're always focusing on what we don't have. I don't have this thing, I want this thing. My friend has this thing, I want this thing. My family member has this thing, I don't have it, I want this thing. Into such a state that a person, you become so desperate, and you become so, anxious and nervous, and you're not in a state of tranquility. You almost become a person insane that you want that thing. Until you don't get that thing, you're not at peace of mind. And you'll never be at peace of mind until you get that. But rather, what should we do? Look at this woman. She only had her eyes and her brain, and she wrote a book. Right? All she had, she said, look at me, I only have my eyes and my brain, and I wrote a book. And what are you people doing? You have your arms, you have your eyes, you have your body, you have time, you have health. Take advantage of what you have, and don't focus on what you don't have. And thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for what you have. And she was not even a Muslim. And we're Muslims, alhamdulillah, and we have Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We believe in Allah. We have the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. We have his blessings. So how can we be any less than that? You see, we should be even more thankful to Allah, and we should be utilizing what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us even more than that. That's why I'm saying to myself and all of us here, that take advantage of these blessed nights and days, because we don't know if they're going to come again. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has delivered you in that state, and has caused you to be on the day of Arafah in a state of health, in a state of good health, in a state where you can remember Allah, make ibadah, then take advantage of that. It's a blessing from Allah, it might not come again. It might not come next year. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us tawfiq. And it's all from the tawfiq of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's all from the enabling grace that Allah bestows upon you and His fadl. We should always ask Allah for His fadl. We should always ask Allah for His tawfiq. As one of the Prophets alayhi salatu wasalam, he mentions in the Quran, وَمَا تَوْفِيقِي إِلَّا بِاللَّهِ, that I don't have any ability or any ability to do good except by the grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. عَلَيْهِ تَوَكَّلْتُ, upon Him do I trust, وَإِلَيْهِ أُنِيبُ, and I turn to Him subhanahu wa ta'ala in all my affairs. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala increase us in tawfiq. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to take advantage and focus on what we have from His blessings. And if we just start to focus and start to count, we're not able to enumerate all the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We'll just become wild and we'll become surprised at Allah subhanAllah, how many blessings that He has bestowed upon us just within the physical body itself. And then you look at the spiritual world and we find that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has bestowed us. And I said this at the beginning of this speech, the greatest blessing is that He had made us from the ummah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He could have put us in any nation, in any household, in any belief system. He could have, even if He wanted, put us without any faith, which is the worst thing. You have no faith, you're an atheist, you believe in nothing, right? But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chose us without us asking. Did we have a choice which family we're going to be born in? Right? Without us asking, He put us in the Muslim home, and He made us from the Ummah of the Prophet ﷺ. And those people who, mashallah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not put in a Muslim home, even them, and they became Muslim, even that is a blessing. Yes, they had to try harder. Maybe they had more tests because they were not in a Muslim home. They had to revert to Islam. Their journey was a little bit tougher. But if they came still to Iman, then still they have the blessing of Allah, because still they ended up in Islam, alhamdulillah. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allows us to thank Him, Ya Rabbil Alameen. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive us all for all our sins.